With only 4 days left until the swordsmanship tournament, Mia realized all local bento shops were fully booked. Panicked, she tried to solve the issue herself but ended up needing her maid Anne's help. Anne, with her resourceful connections, decided that they would make the bento themselves. Mia, who has never cooked, was skeptical, and her initial recruit, Chloe, proved less than ideal. Tiona, skilled at vegetable prep, joined the bento team despite Mia's hesitation. Sion becomes a bento target to cover any potential mishaps with Abel's, turning Mia's potential failed plan into a chance for revenge. Meanwhile, Sion's attendant, Keithwood, became wary of the plan's chaotic potential. Deciding to help supervise, Keithwood ultimately stepped in, saving Sion and Abel from what might have been an unfortunate date with the bathroom.
3 days before the swordsmanship tournament, Mia and the girls were in the kitchen doing rehearsal bento preparation. Keithwood made his way there with the intention of inspecting their progress. When he arrived and witnessed their creations, "Your Highness, Princess Mia, what is this going to be made into bread?" he asked, staring at the mound of dough that Mia was beating at. She gave her sculpture a few more smacks before turning to him with a proud face.
Yes, Prince Abel loves horses so much that he joined the equestrian club. I'm sure he'll be pleased.
With flowers on her cheeks, she rested her hands on her hips. A full-scale horse-sized bread dough was in proud display in front of Mia. It looked like a sculpture of an actual horse. Keithwood, however, looked sick and nodded in faint approval. "I see. It's true that it's important to think about the person you are cooking for. In that sense, you've done well. However, Your Highness, this bread has a fatal flaw. Miss Anne, care to elaborate?" Anne looked back at him and gave him a confident nod that seemed to say, "Leave it to me." He stepped back and gestured for her to continue. For him, it seems that Anne, being the resident baking expert, knew exactly what was wrong with Mia's dough.
Right. You see, Mia-sama, if it is a horse bread, the ear has to be a little more...
No. Eyes back here, please, said Keithwood, picking up the proverbial torch back up from where Anne had dropped it. "If it's so big and thick, the dough won't fully cook. That damn thing is the size of an actual horse! You will have to light a shed on fire to bake it." He brought his fist down on the life-size dough sculpture and mercilessly tore it down and crushed it into pieces. Then, ignoring the shriek of grief that escaped Mia, he ripped it into little bits and put them on the table. "They need to be smaller and thinner. Please make them about this size. Alright, Princess Mia?" Mia puffed her cheeks like a pufferfish in defiance. "Do you understand?"
Fine! We'll do it your way then.
A vein bulged in Keithwood's temple by Mia, who shrugged and acted like she was the one doing him a favor, while he resisted the urge to scream.
Keithwood-san, how are these vegetables I'm working on?
"Oh, Lady Rudelbahn. I see. You're quite good at chopping up vegetables." He looked at the plate of vegetables neatly cut into strips. Then he looked at the next plate. And the next. And the next. Keithwood tried hard to avoid putting in a sharp retort, but "I do believe, however, that we're feeding Milord and Prince Abel, not the horses. I'm afraid they won't be able to consume such large amounts of vegetables." 4 plates! 4 freaking plates! What is this? Are we feeding the entire menu? Out of propriety, he kept that last part to himself. It wasn't easy, but once again, he resisted the urge to scream. This day had turned into the ultimate test of patience, and yet, the test continued. Wait, what's the smell?
Meat! I finished the meat!
The back door of the kitchen swung open, and Leora came in. "Ah, well, that's certainly some well-roasted meat there, Miss Leora." The meat was still sizzling and juices dripped from the brown skin. A few places were a tad singed, but it did look rather appetizing. It looked delicious. But now, if you only had considered a little about the people for whom this food will be. Why did you not use the oven? There is one in the kitchen, for heaven's sake. It's right there. Why did you have to go start a freaking fire in the courtyard and roast it on a spit? Not only was it a rather crude method to prepare the meat, it was also extremely unsanitary to cook outside. when he tried to voice out his concerns, there was a person beside him who beat him to the punch. "Keithwood is right, Leona-san. Do you realize we're going to be serving this to the princess, right?" said Chloe, who was holding a thick cookbook in one hand. "Oh, thank the sun. The young lady of the Forward Company has some common sense. Raw meat is the best way to preserve the taste of the ingredients, so no! Absolutely not. Please stop." Keithwood stopped her, trying to prevent another crazy idea from taking root. He finally noticed that the title of the book Chloe had in her hands read, "Exotic Recipes for Exotic Delicacies." Eh? But it is written in this book that the sashimi of horse liver is delicious, and taking into account that Prince Abel is in the Equestrian Club, I thought a recipe that would make use of a horse would be a good idea. Okay, look. Sashimi of any kind should only be eaten at a specialty shop. Also, what is it with you people and putting horses into your food? It's the Equestrian Club. They ride horses, not eat them. First, Her Highness tries to make a 1-to-1 horse bread, and now you try to serve them raw horse? What is this? Are you picking a fight with them or something? It was far too late. But Keithwood finally realized that the most dangerous people in the kitchen are not the beginner cooks who know nothing, but rather those who know something but have no idea how to put it together. Sweet sun high above, what have I gotten myself into? Realizing that drastic measures were in order, he decided to make his move. My dear princess and ladies, please listen to what I'm about to say carefully. He paused, allowing the silence to impart a certain gravitas to his next words. On the day when you're making your bento, follow my instruction, please. His real intentions spilled, but he didn't care about that anymore. The menu for the day will be a simple sandwich, okay?
Eh? But it won't be special enough.
Okay.
Okay.
He turned away with a grimace and regretted his outburst. Only a little, because he realized he just jumped onto a burning ship with no port in sight. 2 days before the swordsmanship tournament, Mia visited Abel to explain the situation. She found him just as he was about to head to the lakeshore for some sword practice, so they decided to head there together. I see. A homemade bento. Normally, bentos for this occasion are ordered in shops. As for Mia, she was offering to make him a bento. Together. With her friends. All of whom don't have any experience in making one. This should have been a pretty scary proposition. However,
I think I actually have a talent in cooking.
She was having delusions of greatness that I'm pretty sure that somewhere in the academy made Keithwood pop up a blood vessel. Nevertheless, she was humble enough to admit that her cooking is not that of the same level as the professionals at the shops. So, in advance, she decided to set up some preemptive damage control by lowering Abel's expectations and basically saying that she is sorry if it doesn't taste great.
I'm sorry, Prince Abel. I should have ordered at the finest shops with the best ingredients.
It's fine. I don't mind. Actually, I'm rather happy.
You're happy?
Oh, my mother made me bentos from time to time. It reminds me of her. In the kingdom of Remno, whether noble-born or commoner, the social standing of women is rather low. While it is not a good thing, it was common to see noble women doing menial tasks that are normally performed by servants in other countries. So, it wasn't strange for a noble woman in Remno to cook for her husband and children. Sure, the meals were different from the ones that the head chef made, but it was always special because my mother and sisters made it with their hearts. And I was happy. I can't wait to try your bento. This caught Mia off guard, and she realized that the bar for quality on her homemade bento had risen a notch.
Oh, I did not expect Prince Abel to be accustomed to eating homemade bentos. Now it is hard to make an excuse if my bento does not taste good. This calls for a change of plans. Maybe I should try something more elaborate.
And so, before Mia had time to cook what was definitely a bad idea, the shoreline came into view.
Wow!
The lake stretched out before her eyes against a background of unbroken blue. Sunlight, like golden glitters, danced across its unblemished surface while gentle waves brushed rhythmically against the beautiful white sand. There was almost no sign of people on the beautiful white sand beach. Only the sound of quiet waves echoing accompanied them. It was pristine and utterly breathtaking.
I didn't know there was such a wonderful place nearby.
It is a place that she never visited, even in the previous timeline. I'm glad you like it. It's a good place. Then, in one smooth motion, he stepped onto the beach, turned around, and offered her his hand. Here, watch your step. The flowing, natural, and elegant gesture made Mia's heart flutter.
Relax. This is nothing special. It's what expected of boys.
She took his outstretched hand. His palm was firm, which surprised her. Again, her heart fluttered.
The day has finally come that I get to walk along such a beautiful lakeshore with a gentleman by my side.
When she was in the dungeon, she never imagined that such thing could be possible. And now, it was more than possible. It was happening. Mia was swimming in happiness. She tried to take it through all of her senses, everything she could. The sights, the smells, the sounds, and the feelings. Still, I have to say, it's a little disappointing.
What could it be?
The fact that I'm not the only one that will receive a bento from you? His sudden confession sent her heart wildly aflutter.
What is he saying? He can't just say that. He just can't.
In the suffocating darkness of those moonless nights, when the loneliness and hunger in the dungeon were almost her only company, Mia tried to escape reality by imagining a time and again that she was somewhere else. She would dream up scenes for herself, enjoying a stroll along the shoreline with the man of her dreams, and indulge in fleeting visions of their sweet nothings. And now, Mia was actually in the middle of such fantasy. She panicked. She was not ready for this.
I have to calm down. Okay, deep breath. Deep breath. Deep breath. Deep breath. Deep breath.
No matter how much she tried to relax, her mind failed to follow her instructions, and her breaths turned into panicked gasps for air. Abel stopped and looked into Mia's face with concern. This only made her blush harder. Are you okay? You look a little tired.
What? Oh, maybe I am.
Abel took Mia to the shaded area of the beach. Then he promptly took off his coat and laid it down on the sand. Here, sit down and rest for a while. I will be practicing, but it is pretty boring, so when you recover, feel free to go back first. When Mia sat down, he started swinging his sword.
Well, you seem to be taking this seriously.
She remembered Abel's palm, which was completely stiff. It is a testament of how long he has kept swinging his sword. More desperate than serious, I'd say. I've spent more time with the sword in the last month than I have in my entire life. After all, I have an opponent who I really want to fight, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to win. Which reminds me about the bento. You know how I said it was a shame? In a way, I'm glad about it too.
Huh?
Well, if I only ate Princess Mia's bento, people might say that I was able to beat Prince Sion only because of that. With that said, Abel gave Mia a shining, confident smile and returned to his practice. It left Mia dazzled, and a long time passed before the burning sensation in her lung reminded her to take a breath. On the morning of the day of the swordsmanship tournament, the bento squad got to work under the supervision of Keithwood, executive director of the sandwich assembly line. Alright, Miss Tiona, like we discussed, you're going to take that chicken and roast it in the oven over there. I know it's a little different than your usual cooking process, but I think it's rather easy to adjust the heat.
Okay, I understand.
Lyra straightened up and saluted before making her way to the chicken. She plucked the feathers, gutted it, seasoned it with salt and spices, filled the inside with herbs, and then just threw it into the oven. It landed with a loud splat, but Keithwood decided that he definitely hadn't heard. He was pretty sure that if he let every little problem get to him, he would die of desperation even before the tournament started. If it's cooked, it's edible. If it's cooked, it's edible. Keithwood muttered to himself as a sort of mantra before going to the next station. It's not about the look of the meat anyway, it's about its taste, so it's fine. Now, next is...
Keithwood-san, how did these look?
Looks good. I see the good lady of the Rudel ones is as adroit as ever. Tiona blushed a little upon hearing Keithwood's compliment. Originally, Tiona is a strong addition to the team as long as she doesn't make a mistake in the quantities. The problematic one was...
May I start baking as well?
Hearing Mia's voice, he felt a headache coming on. The only saving grace is that Anne probably needed the dough. Now, from the way it looked, it might actually work as a dough. Now, if it could work as a sandwich, maybe. Just like last time, the dough retained the characteristic of its original creator. He looked at the head, the ears, the four legs, the body and the tail. He could feel his headache getting stronger. I told you time and time again to make it a goddamn square! Well, there are some signs of growth anyway. It is made flat and thin so the insides can be baked with no problem, and its size is also technically still reasonable for a bread. The fact that it was shaped like a horse was definitely the problem. Furthermore, in what must have been a misguided attempt to pursue fidelity, the body of the horse dough was of realistic proportion, making it very narrow. This was supposed to be a sandwich, damn it! How do you intend to sandwich anything when it's shaped like this? He felt a strong urge to slam his fist into the thing and beat it to a pulp, but a glance at Mia's excited face stopped his hand. Not to mention the diplomatic implications of destroying the prince's handiwork, it is hard for Keithwood to destroy it while Mia was looking at him with an expectant face, clearly waiting for his approval. She had clearly put her heart into making the thing. Squishing it would be unnecessarily cruel. At the same time, with its awkward shape, the finished product would not hold its content properly, making it impossible to use as is. It was a disaster waiting to happen. He could already see how everything would burst out the second somebody took a bite. Solutions, Keithwood. Focus on solutions. I got it. Excuse me, Miss Forkroad. Could you please make a white sauce with Anne? The ingredients are... Oh, don't worry. I know what they are. I've read it before. And Anne, I'll list them for you. At Chloe's instructions, Anne quickly prepared the ingredients. Originally, Chloe's knowledge is as good as Keithwood. All she has to do is bring out the right knowledge. Not raw meat or delicacies, and she's dependable enough. We can use the sauce to keep everything together. The biggest problem with Mia's bread is that the meat and vegetable sandwich inside will fall after one bite. To remedy this issue, Keithwood was improvising by using sauce to fix the content together inside the bread. After the horse dough became horse bread, he took a piece, covered one side in sauce, placed a layer of vegetables on it, covered those in another layer of sauce, added the meat on top, and topped it off with another slice of bread. Okay, it's done. In this way, Keithwood's painstaking work, the horse-shaped sandwich, was successfully completed. When all the work was done, Mia walked over to Keithwood.
Please accept my thanks, Keithwood-san. Your help was greatly appreciated.
Keithwood lowered his head in a polite bow. It is my honor and pleasure to be of service. I'll pass it on to my Lord Sion. He replied by rote. After all, the servant's work is the master's credit, and the praise to the servant is a tribute to the master. So, of course, Keithwood thought that Mia's words were for Sion. But, to his surprise...
Keithwood-san, I'm not thanking Prince-san. I'm thanking you. You were the one who helped us, and it was thanks to you we were able to make a bento.
With that said, she bowed and beamed at him with earnest gratitude. Keithwood felt something stir in his chest. Ah, I see now. So this is how she grabs the hearts of the people. Normally, nobles do not thank nor do they bow to their servants, because pride does not allow them. However, Princess Mia is not bound by such pointless aristocratic customs. For Keithwood, who has been steeped in the sweltering mires of noble culture for most of his life, Mia's words came like a breath of fresh winter air, shockingly new and sharply stimulating. Sweet sons, if I had met her before His Highness Sion, I might be calling her Milady. What Keithwood didn't know was that Mia was actually faithfully observing those customs. It was probably for the best that he was blissfully ignorant of the thoughts going through Mia's head.
As if I'd ever think that jerk.
That's right, Keithwood had no idea how petty Mia's reasoning was. As a matter of fact, Keithwood had heard her enough on the previous timeline, but that was irrelevant to her, because...
The attendant's sin is the master's fault. Everything is Sion's fault.
And what Mia didn't know was that she had just raised her favorability in the eyes of Keithwood.
This is it for this video. We will continue with the story of the Guillotine Princess in the next episode. This was Brian and Marco from Jobless Weebs. Matinee.